pre-patch brought many exciting changes to WoW Classic, one of which being that brutal gear can be bought for honor, and not that much honor. In fact, it's almost like they're giving it away. This has caused players to rush to the battlegrounds seeking seemingly free gear. I've seen endless death knights and boosted characters going from full greens to full epics in a matter of hours. I myself went from literally no gear to full gear in just 2 weeks playing casually. You could do it much faster if you were committed. So what are the honor hacks to get tons of honor? It has to do with playing Alterac Valley properly, and most people do not know how to play Alterac Valley properly in order to both win and maximize honor gains, and that is what I'm going to go through. Now in Alterac Valley you get 121 honor from Galv or Belinda, as well as any tower when it is destroyed. There are 4 towers and Galv/Belinda, so there's 605 extra honor to be captured each game. Losing gives 161 honor and winning gives 322, which is double. So the perfect Alterac Valley game will give you roughly 927 honor, and I've seen each game last as little as 10 minutes, meaning 927 honor every 10 minutes equals roughly 6,000 honor per hour. Now, one of the biggest mistakes I see is losing your towers closest to the field of strife. It's super important to hold your first 2 towers that are captured towers, Tower Point/Iceblood Tower if you're Alliance, or Stonehearth Bunker/Icewing Bunker if you are Horde. Both for the bonus honor, but also because each tower gives Drek or Van 40% increased damage and max health. A good rule of thumb is having 6 to 7 players in each of the 2 towers to ensure it can't get back capped. A tip to keep your first 2 towers is that if the nearby graveyard falls back to the enemy faction, the towers are usually going to fall back too. So keep an eye on if you have that graveyard, and if you lose it, you might want to send some backup. And if you're enjoying this video so far, I'd appreciate a like and a sub to support the channel. Now, another mistake players on offense have a tendency to make is to sit on Noob Hill. This is kind of an alliance thing. It's called that because there's really no strategic value in sitting there when you could be defending the 2 nearby towers or the graveyard nearby. In the past, it had value to stand there to catch any players using their trinkets to recall back and run and try to defend Drek, right? But I haven't seen anyone use that trinket yet in TBC, and it's really just better to defend an objective than to stand on that hill doing pretty much nothing. Now, when there's about 20 seconds left on the last 2 towers, you want to be ready to pull Van or Drek. If you kill Van or Drek too soon, you're going to miss out on an extra 242 honor from the last 2 towers capping. If you kill him too late, you could lose the game. And because the enemy faction killed him first, that means that you're going to get 161 honor instead of the 322 from winning the game. Now, as you can imagine, it is better to wait for those 2 towers because 242 is more than 161 that you would gain if you won instead of losing, right? So it is worth it to wait for those 2 extra towers, even if you do risk losing. Now, another big tip to succeed in AV is to let the tank pull Drek or Van. I've seen so many players who are probably in dungeon groups get bored and start pulling, and there are no consequences for them. The tank will just pick up after they pull, and it's no big deal. But in AV, there might not be a tank there to pick up Van or Drek, and the consequences are everyone starts doing damage, and inevitably everyone's going to die if there's no tank. And if you don't own the nearby graveyard, that player may have just forced a turtle scenario, dragging the game out needlessly. So it's actually a pretty big deal to not pull if you're not the tank and if there isn't a healer with you. Now, smart players will usually know whether or not to commit to a bad pull. 9 out of 10 times, though, I've seen a random player in full boosted gear decide to try to pull and then start running away. They end up dying instantly and then start wiping everyone else, leading to a total disaster. So really good rule of thumb is let the tank pull. Now you can see in this clip I got 564 honor at the end of the game because we pulled off a flawless victory in terms of honor. We capped the last 2 towers right before we won the game. Now, another key part of maximizing honor gains in AV is knowing when to AFK. No, not AFK like a freeloader, but went to /AFK to remove yourself from the game. When you know that a game is about to drag on until reinforcements run out, this is a type of game that you don't want to be in. Usually these games can last anywhere from 20 to 30 plus minutes depending on how many towers fell before the turtle began, right? So if no towers fell and it's a turtle, this is a worst case scenario. And you basically just have to be able to recognize when a game has devolved into a turtle game, which is not too hard to do, and then AFK out as soon as you can so you can queue again in 15 minutes. Now, of course, you're going to have to kind of ballpark it, understand how much time is left in this turtle game, but it can save you anywhere from 5 to 10 to 15 minutes if you AFK out. But as you can see, each game lasts around 10 minutes in an ideal scenario. So that could be an extra 500 to 1,000 honor you'll have over someone who decided to stay in that game where a turtle was happening, and then multiply that over all the times you leave one of those games, and you're going to pull way ahead of someone who stays in those turtle games versus you who leaves and gets into a better game. Hopefully you can get some really good honor during pre-patch, get fully geared going into Wrath of the Lich King Classic. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next video.